Hello and welcome back to Stop and Go F1 for this, our reactions to the Belgian sprint race, which was an interesting one. A lot of action on the first lap, then from there, a lot of teases of action. We'll get into all of that and more in just 1 second, but remember to like and subscribe, of course, and a huge shout out to the members. Dakota, The Joyous J, Ron Myers, Cinnamon Strudel, Michael Johnson, Mr. Eurovision 1986, Philip Duganzik, No Edam on Sandwiches, and Sarah Jowett. If you want to become a member, click the link in the description down below. But let's get into this. The Belgian sprint race, World Championship leader Oscar Piastri is on pole position with reigning world champion Max Verstappen alongside him. Lando Norris is second in the championship. He starts this race from third place. There are a few changes to our grid though. Franco Colapinto starts in the pit lane after making setup changes from qualifying yesterday, where he qualified 19th. And a bad day for Alpine goes even worse, because Pierre Gasly, who had a fantastic qualifying of 8th place, had a water issue before the start of the race and would not take the start of the race. But as we get away, it is a good getaway from Oscar Piastri to keep the lead, but as we go onto the Kemmel Straight, there's a tremendous straight line speed of the Red Bull mixed in with the slipstream he was getting from Oscar Piastri allows him to come alongside and take the lead of the race. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc is able to get past Lando Norris to take third. On a replay, we see this beautiful helicopter shot, which has both moves in the same shot, and we see that the two moves are actually incredibly different, because it seemed like the Red Bull had got the straight line speed, had got the slipstream, was able to get alongside and then get past, whereas Charles Leclerc's move seemed to be a lot less about the speed that the car had, but more about a tremendous dive that he went for round the outside, which then becomes the inside, and he takes up into third. A really fantastic move from Leclerc there to take third place. But yeah, as I said, Max Verstappen, with the setup that he has this weekend, that low downforce setup gives him that tremendous straight line speed, and especially on that Kemmel Straight, especially in the third sector of the track, he has got that tremendous pace, which is what he used again and again and again throughout this race. It may hinder him tomorrow. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But as we go back to this race, we see, even with DRS, Oscar Piastri is realistically not able to get close to Max Verstappen. It seemed like every single lap, apart from one, which we'll talk about in a little bit, it seemed like he was coming onto the Kemmel Straight, he was about 6 tenths behind, he would get right behind him, but wasn't able to get alongside, wasn't able to think about making a move. Every single lap, just because that setup that Verstappen had from there. Now, something really interesting happened on lap 3, because Pierre Gasly joins this race. After not starting, he's now in the race itself, and it looked very much like, from this point on, Alpine were using this sprint race as a test session for not just Gasly's car, but Colapinto's as well. Colapinto, the only driver in this race to start the race on the soft tyres, was massively at the back, miles away from anyone else. And Gasly was on the mediums in a little world of his own. Alpine is trying to get some data, I imagine, to maybe help them out tomorrow in the race or even later on today in qualifying. Meanwhile, now back to the front of the grid, Lando Norris is able to retake third position on lap 4. Charles Leclerc doing the best he could, but as the race went on, it became incredibly obvious that the Ferrari just did not have the pace of the McLarens or of Max Verstappen. And you know, we've seen a lot of time this year when there's been a race that has ended up being a duel between the McLaren drivers. It seems to happen quite a bit. That I think the one that comes straight to my mind is Miami. I think it might have also happened in Spain as well. Maybe maybe I'm wrong on that one. But Oscar Piastri seems to get away. Lando Norris gets stuck behind another car. And then by the time he gets past that car, Oscar's too far gone, and he needs a safety car or something to happen to kind of bunch the group back up. And this almost happened here with him being stuck behind Leclerc for those laps. But because Max Verstappen, yes, he had that straight line speed, but over the course of the lap was slower than the McLarens, it allowed Norris to get back into that race, especially in that middle sector. The McLarens were far quicker than what Verstappen was able to produce, but there's no real overtaking positions in that second sector, so Oscar Piastri was not able to fully use the speed that he had within the car. Meanwhile, Kimi Antonelli makes a move on Nico Hulkenberg for P17. I wrote here, Kimi Antonelli starting his fight up the grid. It was not a fight up the grid. It ended up being gaining one position, mainly because there was a huge DRS train from Ollie Behrman in 7th down to Antonelli in 17th. Everyone had DRS. No one was making the moves. I think because a lot of the teams have gone for a more high downforce setup, expecting rain tomorrow, maybe that is why they weren't able to get that straight line speed to get the move done there. But yeah, I think outside of lap 1, there was only 4 overtakes all race. Meanwhile, Norris now closing in on Piastri and Verstappen, setting fastest lap after fastest lap. On lap 10, he does join this little leading duo, and he's able to go from there. But even on the back of Piastri, he was not really able to make any moves, thanks to Piastri having the DRS from Max Verstappen. There was a few laps where it looked like maybe Max could break the DRS. There was one in particular, I think it might have been like lap 13, something around there, where coming out of the third sector, Max had a 9/10 lead, but as soon as you got in that start-finish straight, they give you the DRS, which, to be honest, is possibly the most pointless DRS straight on the entire calendar, because you're not getting anything done there. But yeah, he got the DRS on there, was able to get closer again. The closest he got was on lap 11. I think Verstappen made an ever so slight mistake coming out of the bus stop chicane. Maybe went a little bit too deep. Piastri able to get right on the back of him, and as they go on the Camel Straight, you can see Max is looking in his mirrors. He's trying to break the toe. He's coming across, coming back, and on that point there, it looked like maybe Piastri was going to get him, but he didn't, and that was really the only opportunity Oscar Piastri had for the entire race in terms of taking the lead. So as we cross the line, Max Verstappen wins the sprint race, his 12th sprint race win in Formula 1, which now means he has 10 more sprint race wins than anyone else in F1 history, which is just absolutely tremendous for him. Oscar Piastri comes home in P2, Lando Norris in P3, Charles Leclerc a fantastic P4. I think that might be overlooked a little bit, how good that was, but to be up in third at the start of the race was tremendous, considering the lack of pace that he had in comparison to Lando Norris. But then, yeah, P4 really good. A fantastic result for Esteban Ocon in 5th. Really great stuff. Carlos Sainz is in 6th place, and you know what? I mean, I know it's only a sprint race, but so far this weekend, this is his best performance in a Williams car. Massively outqualified Albon, got some good points here. You know, this was the kind of performances I've been expecting from Sainz since the start of the season. It's only taken half a season to get there, and hopefully he can continue it into the rest of the weekend, but this is the kind of performances I was expecting to see. So good stuff from Carlos Sainz. Ollie Behrman led that TRS train for most of the race. He comes home in 7th. Then the last point of the day goes to Isaac Hadjar in 8th. Gabriel Bortoleto has a tremendous race to finish up in 9th, but of course in a sprint does not get any points. Lawson was 10th, Tsunoda 11th. George Russell in 12th. Lance Stroll actually had a decent race. He finished up in 13th, but he did get a couple of positions from there, so good job for Stroll. Alonso is one of the only people in this race who didn't gain or lose any positions. He's in P14. Lewis Hamilton was 15th, Albon 16th, Antonelli 17th. Nico Hulkenberg, a big change from last time out. He finished this race in 18th place. Then it's the two Alpines, Colapinto in 19th, Gasly in 20th. A good sprint race, but asks a massive question of tomorrow's race, because Max was able to win this because of that straight line speed. We said it over and over and over again. Had that straight line speed, even with DRS, the McLaren of Oscar Piastri was not able to get alongside him. What does that mean for tomorrow? If the rain comes down heavily and Max has got no downforce, he is in for a hell of a long Sunday. Now, this could be good news for him later on today in qualifying, because although he didn't seem to have the pace of the McLarens, he had good pace. So I think he can qualify top 3, possibly top 2 yet again later on today. But tomorrow, when that rain comes down, are we going to see a repeat of Silverstone, where he's trying his best, but it's just not working because of that setup? Have they possibly compromised themselves for tomorrow? That is something to keep an eye on as we go into tomorrow's race, and we'll be there to cover all of it. We'll be here later on today to talk all things qualifying. And then, of course, tomorrow, F1, F2, F3, all of that to come on the channel. So subscribe for all of that. I will see you then. Have a good one. Goodbye.